Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing? Love the way you look in the mirror and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Shurina from Create Yourself That Today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. I'm in the middle of this paper mess this morning because I got a lot of questions regarding fat loss and muscle gain, and so I'm going to be addressing some of those questions and also in the process sharing with you simple practice that I give to all of my clients who are not like elite athletes and don't weigh their foods and count every gram of protein and fat and carb and every supplement and every minute of sleep and tracking everything. So if you're not of those people, then this episode is going to be really useful to you. For those of you, and there are a lot of you guys, because even I, personally, I'm always tweaking something in my body. Like I like to grow this muscle, or I like to lose it here. I like to have my butt a little bit rounder and more defined when it comes to muscles, So I'm always working on something, and I'm always working on something with my clients, something new, something I haven't thought of, some new, problem that I need to be able to solve through lifestyle and nutrition adjustments. So today we will address some of those questions and case studies that came up recently in my practice, and my personal and my professional practice. So the first thing we're going to do is answer this question. So that actually came from not my client, but a person reached out to me through my sister. And I gave him, that's the guy, he's in his 40s and he's trying to build muscles and lose fat. And so I gave him some advice maybe like a couple of months ago, and now he's reaching out back and he's asking, well, I'm not building muscle as much as I'd like, and I'm not losing fat that much. So he's seeing some progress, but nothing too impressive and not for sure as fast as he'd like it to see. And so she also my sister told me that he's eating fish, vegetables, that he's eating things like buckwheat and oatmeals and sweet potatoes, and he's training. And so it's hard for me always to give any sort of, precise advice in this situation, because I'm not given precise information. Like I don't know exactly what he eats, in which amounts, when he eats it, whether he's consistent with his portions or not, whether he gets all the minerals, all the vitamins, everything that the body needs to function properly, to build muscle properly, to lose fat, and to get all the energy your body needs. Like take for example amino acid L-carnitine. Like it's proven by some studies that if your body does not get enough, and usually you would find that amino acid in beef, in animal products basically, and not so much, for example, in fish, right, or in eggs. I'm not even sure if there is some, but mostly in animal products. And since I, for example, do not eat a lot of those bigger animals for my own personal reasons, I know that I'm not getting enough, right? And when I'm trying to lose fat and I don't have much to lose in the first place, I know that that amino acid always helps me to feel more energetic because my body is able to tap into my own fat stores for energy, but also to lose more my fat more effectively, especially again if you don't have much to lose. And the point of my example was that I don't really know what exactly he's eating and whether he's getting everything or not. And I don't even know his diet before and after and what kind of metabolism he has. Is he like insulin intolerant or something else? Is he sleeping? How's his stress? When exactly does he exercise? What kind of training does he do? Cardio and weight training. And I didn't have all these details, but I told her that first and foremost, I would look at my sleep. And sleep, guys, when you train, you tear and stress your muscles. And when you sleep, when you don't train, when you recover, that's when your body actually rebuilds muscle tissue. And so if you don't sleep enough, if you don't get your 8 hours of sleep, sometimes actually your body needs more, especially if you're a bigger person, and especially if you train a lot, and especially if you have a lot of stress in your life. Like if you don't sleep enough, you're not going to be building that much muscle, and you're not going to be losing that much fat. It's proven also by studies that the worse your sleep is, the more fat you're going to have, the more inflammation in your body you're going to have, the less ability to build muscle and strength and recover you're going to have. So sleep is very important, right? And I have no idea how he sleeps, how many hours and how good those hours are. And then also, I don't know the amounts he's eating. If he's eating, protein here and there and not enough, and then he's eating a lot of oatmeal and buckwheat and potatoes, then yeah, he's not going to be able to build a lot of muscle and definitely not going to be able to lose a lot of fat. Like, I'm not saying that carbohydrates in general are fattening, but if you're eating a lot of them, it's going to be harder for your body to lose fat. That's all is relative, but that's just what usually happens for most people. So you don't want to be eating a lot of buckwheat, you want to be eating more on a protein side of things. So I told her that, the amount when he eats matters and what exactly he eats. And is he simply getting enough protein? Like for a lot of people, 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or somewhere around 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight, that's where you need to be if you're actively trying to put on muscle. And so I don't know that. And again, I don't know whether he's getting all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients his body needs to do all the work, all the reactions to build the muscles, to lose the fat, and also have a lot of energy. And yeah, so I couldn't answer that question, but I told you that I would probably, again, look at the sleep, look at the stress levels, look at the amount of protein he's getting, look at the amount of foods, and if he's trying to lose fat, I would probably cut down on those cereals, on those oatmeals, on those buckwheats, potatoes, and I would add more protein. I would also probably at some point try to reduce fat. He might be eating too much fat, too much is too much, and fat is highly caloric substance. It's good, it's necessary for the body, but if you're eating too much, you're eating too much. That's the end of story. And each gram of fat has 9 calories, more than twice the amount of proteins, what you would find in protein and carbohydrates. And so he also needs to look at that and maybe change up a bit his diet and not eating, late. It's also for a lot of people, the earlier you eat, like this year, I committed to early bird diet. So I'm eating all my food before 3 p.m. and I start my eating window at 12 p.m. So 3-hour window from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And guys, it's not the same as eating from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Not the same for your gut bacteria, for your metabolism. So timing matters. It might not matter that much, but it still matters for your also digestive health that is involved in everything that your body does when it comes to metabolism, fat loss, muscle building, getting nutrients from your food. So the conclusion, details matter, guys. And so the conclusion or the takeaway for you, the practical takeaway is you need to look at the details and make sure that you control as many of them as possible. So again, get in your 8 hours of sleep of the best quality on the same schedule, because schedule also matters for your hormonal balance, perfect for the sleep. So go to bed early, wake up early, reasonably for most of you, unless you're a night owl, that's different story. So then you want to make sure that you're getting all of your vitamins and minerals through a variety of whole foods. That's why, eating some boring diet that is the same all the time from the same exact foods is not ideal, especially if you don't know what the most nutritionally rich foods are. So you want to add variety of vegetables, variety of protein-rich foods, but focus always on whole foods, of course, not food-like products, packaged products. So when it comes to control, you want to make sure, for example, for most of you, you eat only 3 times a day, 2-3 times a day, because that is much easier to control than 6 meals a day, even if those are mini meals. And plus, it's much better for your body when it comes to fat loss. You train your body to use your own fat for fuel when you're not grazing and not snacking all the time. And plus, it's much more beneficial for your gut health and, again, your metabolism, your metabolic health, your longevity, your blood sugar control. So 2-3 meals a day, right? And then, for example, you decided for breakfast you're gonna have 3 to 6 eggs, depending on how much protein and how much fat you want to get, right? And maybe you decided you're gonna have some berries for breakfast, or maybe even some onions, some tomatoes, some bell peppers, maybe some spinach, some vegetables in your omelet, right? That's what you're gonna have for breakfast. Then for lunch, you might have some fish or some shellfish, especially fatty fish, omega-3 fatty acids. Shellfish has a lot of minerals, so guys, you want to make sure that you always include those foods in some way or the other. And maybe you add to that some Brussels sprouts or some broccoli. Maybe you're gonna also finish it off or start it off with some fresh salad, or maybe crunch on carrots or bell peppers. Bell peppers are super rich in vitamin C. I hope you didn't forget that. And maybe for dinner, you're gonna have a piece of meat, a piece of chicken. And to get 20 to 30 grams of protein, you need a portion like your palm. Sometimes if it's thin cut, like a whole palm with your fingers, I would go for that, especially if you're a beginner, load up on protein too, especially if you're trying to put on muscle. And for maybe like a sweet potato, maybe you decided you're gonna have 1 portion of starch per day, and that's gonna be your dinner. And so you decided that kind of menu you're gonna have. Maybe for fats you're gonna have a little bit more, like a handful of nuts and seeds, especially sunflower seeds, especially pumpkin seeds, right? Maybe for dinner you decided to have half an avocado to whole an avocado. Just make sure that the portions, the servings, you keep constant. And so if you're not gaining muscles and not losing fat, then I would add a portion of protein to one of your meals, and I would subtract some starch or some fruit. What I noticed for most of my clients, starch works better for fat loss. So if you were eating that sweet potato, then maybe remove that sweet potato for your fat loss phase and don't eat it. And maybe remove some portion of fat. So if you were cooking with some oil, or adding like a spoon or 2 tablespoons of olive oil in your salads or while cooking, then maybe remove 1. And that's going to remove at least 100-120 calories from your daily meals. And so remove some carbs, some starch usually, remove some, and starch also are grains, beans, remove a portion of fat, somewhere, like 10 grams of fat, maybe a handful of nuts you were eating, or a tablespoon of oil you were eating, and add a portion of protein. And then do it for a couple of weeks, and then measure the results. For some of you guys, you might see results faster. Some of you guys might see the results. It might take longer for the results to come out. And usually the younger you are, the faster you're going to see the results. So after 30, I'm 32, for example, your metabolic rate, not necessarily, if you train a lot like myself, then it's not going to slow down a lot, but your metabolic rate, the ability to build muscles, just the amount of shit your body can get away with is going to diminish, and you'll have to work fast, or you'll have to work more for progress. And if you're 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, it's just going to take a little bit longer. So 2 weeks, that's a good time frame when you should be consistent. You can do one thing today and then you're in a bad mood and you don't do anything tomorrow and you just eat a lot of, whatever. If you eat a lot of whatever, anything, it's still going to affect your progress. So you got to be consistent for 2 weeks and then measure the progress, whatever you use, maybe some machine too that measures your body fat. Maybe you choose to measure your body proportions, maybe your waist circumference, maybe your hips. Maybe you decided to just simply measure your weight. And every 2 weeks you do that, and then you adjust again depending on what kind of results you're getting. Sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I got leaner. Maybe I didn't get lighter on the scales, but I do look leaner, and people notice that. So 2 weeks, you keep the same routine, changing, substituting foods of similar kinds, like broccoli for Brussels sprouts, or potato for maybe some different kind of tuber, or maybe for cooked peas or cooked carrots, because those are also starchy foods when cooked. So just something, and then in 2 weeks, measure progress again. And when it comes to progress, guys, so how much progress can you expect exactly per week, let's say? So fat loss, when it comes to fat loss, extreme example, if you're really cutting your calories and training a lot, for men going to be 2-3 pounds, or somewhere around 1.5 kilos. For women, it's going to be half a pound. It's going to be like a pound less, so maybe 1.5 pounds to 2.5 pounds per week, or somewhere around 700 grams to maybe 1 kilo, a little bit more than 1 kilo. That is considered to be actually extreme fat loss per week. Reasonable, that's where most people are if you're doing everything right. For men, 1-2 pounds, or half a kilo to a kilo. And for women, it's 0.08 pounds to 1.6 pounds. And also that depends on your size, like how much weight you have to lose. So, maybe like somewhere around half a kilo or 1 pound would be per week, would be average. And then comfortable, rate is less. And when it comes to muscle gain, muscle gain is hard. Like if you're not using any steroids or any drugs, it's not that easy to build good quality muscle. And so for men, when you're just beginning and, you have all your potential in front of you, you actually build muscles faster. So for men, the rate of building muscle would be 1.5 to 2.5 pounds per week. And for women, it's going to be 0.6 to 1 pound per week of, per month. Yeah, per month. What am I talking about? You can lose fat much faster, but per month, you can expect to build, for men, for a beginner, 1.5 to 2.5 pounds of muscles, and for women, 0.6 to 1 pound of muscle per month. So somewhere around half a kilo, for those who are new on metrics like myself. So for women per month, like half a kilo of muscles. For a beginner guy, maybe like a kilo of muscles would be a great goal. If you're an intermediate and you've built quite some muscle already, then for a guy, it would be somewhere around 1 pound of muscle per month, or like half a kilo. And for women, it would be like half a kilo, something about that, or 1 pound per month. And if you're advanced and you've been building and you kind of like reached your potential without drugs and all the enhancements, then don't expect to build much at all. For a guy, per month, you're gonna build maybe like half a pound of muscle, or basically 1/4 of a kilogram. And for women, even less, maybe like, I don't know, 100 grams of muscle per month if you are really advanced. But to get to that level, you know that. And you're probably already an elite athlete and just tweaking a few things here and there. So muscle building, it's hard work. It's not that fast without drugs. A lot of people who say, oh, I build muscles that fast, well, they build size, and a lot of it has to do with holding more water and adding more fat, and when they lean out, they didn't really build that much. So to sum up this episode, first of all, be patient. As you can see, muscle building and fat loss, it's not that fast and it's not that easy. So muscle building especially, and fat loss, for women, a pound a week, probably a good reasonable amount of fat to lose per week, and that again will depend on your size and where you start, like what kind of diet history also you have and metabolism. And then for a guy, somewhere like half a kilo to a kilo, or a pound to 2 pounds of fat loss. And then with muscles, it's very individual and it's not that fast without drugs and everything. And I'm talking steroids. I'm talking about serious drugs, not a protein shake as a supplement, right? And what you want to remember is you gotta keep things consistent. So sleep well on a consistent schedule. You wanna have 2-3 meals where you track things. Like my way of tracking things these days is portions. So, I eat once a day, maybe in those 3 hours I would have 2 meals. So it's 4 to 5 portions of protein, and I measure it with my palm, and also I look the grams of protein when needed, so next time I eat it I know. And then I track the portions of non-starchy vegetables. As a carb, I count my berries that I like to have every day these days for a lot of health reasons and performance reasons and brain health and longevity, a lot of things. And what else? Yeah, I track my veggies, I track my fats. So every portion of fat is somewhere around 10 grams of actual fat. But so for example, a handful of sunflower seeds, that would be a small handful, not like a huge handful, heaping handful, but a small handful of sunflower seeds will give you a serving size of your fat. Or for example, half an avocado would give you actually somewhere around 1.5 servings of fat. And by the way, guys, I can give you a breakdown, like average breakdown based on your goals, your health, your age, your activity levels. I can give you breakdown of serving sizes that might be useful for you, that might work for you to give you progress you seek. I can give you breakdown of the macronutrients and serving sizes and foods you can include in those serving sizes. I can help with that easily, guys, so reach out for that. And yeah, details matter. That's why most of the people never lose fat as much as they like. They don't change their bodies because people don't track things consistently. People do one thing today, the other thing tomorrow, and completely different thing the day after, and they expect to see some results. Like, I've been trying. Well, you've been not trying the right way. There is a right way and the wrong way. And when it comes to fat loss, weight loss, you gotta measure something as precisely as possible, and you gotta stay consistent to get the results. You need time, and you gotta stay consistent for this period of time. So that's it for today's fat loss, weight loss, body adjustments episode, guys. Again, if you need help with your serving sizes, with your eating window, with intermittent fasting, with the best less time consuming exercise protocol to get the results that you seek, if you are not trying to become a bodybuilder or anything, like in your case, like what's the best type and the amount of exercise you can do, and what's the best macronutrient breakdowns, and what are the best foods, most nutritious foods to eat, the most amount of nutrients important for human health, essential for human health, right? If you need help with all of that, reach out. That is an easy thing I can do for all of you guys. So reach out and start doing things the right way. Don't expect things to work when you do them the dumb way, the wrong way. Like, do it the right way, and the results will come in every area of our life. If we do things applying the best practices known in the industry, then we're gonna get results. And then based on that result, we can tweak it here and there based on our own, personal situation and get better results. But first, you gotta put in the basics in place. Like, you're not a miracle. You still have 99.9% of your genes the same as I do. So the things that work for most people, they will work for you, not necessarily the same as they work for me, but they will work. So put basics in place, be consistent, track results, and you will get results. Reach out for professional help. I can help you with that. And again, start getting results. It's 2020, it's time. So start getting results, reach out for help, start tracking, start measuring. And guys, thank you for listening. And as usual, till next time, eat better daily.